is a gunner. I'm telling you the truth. And those that made it. That is how people behave because they don't understand the game plan of the Fulani. People are very Fulani will come to you and want to use you and you succumb because you have greed, envy, and jealousy inside you. Which one again is Biafran army? I'm asking you. From where? How many people? The day I will bring out the Biafran army, we number over 200,000 standing. Reserve is over 1 million. Some bunch of idiots somewhere because you are serving your Fulani Janjaweed masters. We will get hold of all of you. Check out Uno. We know the bad eggs when we see them. We warned people against voting for Buhari in 2015 when he was still alive. The same Buhari died in 2017. People, all of you know that Buhari is dead. Today he's young, tomorrow he's old. You see his hand is fresh today, tomorrow. Nobody knows who is who anymore. All of you are there, but because it's the turn of your village. Your brother is a senator. Your sister is a House of Rep member. You don't want to lose that money that is coming in every day. You come out on social media and you're talking rubbish all the time because you're a black person. You don't understand. There is something called economies of scale. Some of you cannot reason very well. You claim you went to school. Sometimes I wonder the type of lecturers you had in your useless schools that you went to. I wonder, honestly speaking. Because you and your family, you are benefiting. Somehow you think that life is okay for you. Because of the level, or should I say the poverty of ideas inside you. Any day your relative goes into the farm, the Fulanis will kill them. All you can do is to lament. Say things are bad, though, and you go and you sleep, and nothing gets done about it. It was I am very, very grateful to Almighty Elohim, that the courage today that you have in Yoruba land is because of ESN. The courage of Amoteku to say no to Fulani is because of ESN. Because of Eastern Security Network. That is why they found the courage to say no to Fulani. If not, they will not do it. After all these years, without the coming, should I say all these months, without the coming of ESN, as Amoteku said, we are going to flush out Fulani headsmen from our bushes. Never. It's because they saw us, they have seen us doing it. They said, oh, we might as well do the same thing as well. In order to it's called the pincer movement, to cut us off. They got some people, I don't know whether maybe in Olu or whatever, got them together, gave them, say, we are Biafran army, a few idiots. They are shooting gun, we are Biafran army. Inside somewhere. Did we tell you that we have formed the Biafran army? We said when we form it, the world will know that we have come. I don't hide anything. If you claim you are behind any useless group calling themselves Biafran army, show your face because I'm showing my face on video. I claim ownership of not ownership, of course. I can claim responsibility for ESN. Can you claim the same thing for Biafran army? If you claim you're a human being, that's to show it's all the handiwork of DSS. Mad people every idiots everywhere. Africans and lack of discipline. You don't have discipline. You don't have discipline. That was why the white man came and conquered you, because you lack discipline. After the white man must have finished with you, Fulani came from Senegambia because you have no brain. Lack of discipline. Every idiot thinks they can lead. They don't know what leadership entails. Every monkey thinks, oh, maybe if we have it. Nobody is funding IPOB ESN.
Of course, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you according to your time zone. While you are joining us, share the video, invite others to join. Let us find out if we are coming out clear. Wherever you are watching from, share the video. Let us actually do it one more time. We are here, we are live and direct. Of course, you can see the time right in front of your screen. Today's date is 17th of September 2023 in the days of Elohim. It is 24 minutes on top of the hour, regardless of where you are watching from. We are live and direct. I know that, I believe that we will be a little bit shaky this evening, this morning, afternoon, depending on where you are watching from, because of I see we are already kicked out of YouTube, but I don't want to bother about YouTube. We are still, I believe, on Twitter. So we are going to continue with what we have here. So wherever you are watching from, on Twitter or on X, re-X the video, on Facebook, share the video, and don't forget to click that like button. Don't forget to give me that love or that hate. There's so many of you who does not want to, hear the gospel of truth and gospel of emancipation, whichever one. It is very, very important. Great people of Africa, we are here once again to actually talk about, a few things that is happening, because one thing is that we always touch on the trending issues, mostly in Africa, and then sometimes we extend it to a bigger world. We are going to touch about the trending issues, just like we have an image here. If you look at this image, you will find, men and women who are fighting for the greater good of their nations, for the greater good of their people. Those are the people that is right in front of your screen here. And then on the other hand, there is an important move made by the military juntas, the leaders of the coup leaders. There are some moves that was made by them. We are going to talk about it. We are going to discuss it, and how and the impact of it, or the benefit of such move they have made, because this is how it is going to be. Those who want to be free, those who love freedom, they will make this type of move that these military coup leaders are making in order to find a safe landing for their people. We are going to talk about it to know whether that such move is actually acknowledgeable, or whether such move is going to be criticized. On the other hand, it is, of course, the names of this military junta. The other one is Tichiani, and the other one is Traore, and the other one is from, is it Mali or Burkina Faso? I will find the name. Of course, so many of you knows the name of his name. So, and on the other hand, when you go to the other picture on the other side, you will see a woman that I actually respect, and I always look at her antecedent, and I respect her enthusiasm towards trying all her best to make sure that the indigenous people in the Nigeria find a better deal. That is Aisha Yusus that you are seeing. Just like I said that I actually like her enthusiasm, and I also have an advice for her. Because the reason why I want to advise her is because each time we are fighting, we should know the type of fight that we are going to actually engage in, and where is it taking us to. She is, like I always say, she is one of the Hausa woman with a great enthusiasm to make sure she gets a better deal for her own people and the indigenous people in extension in Nigeria. So, but we are going to talk about her. On the other hand, long-awaited publication has been made by the British newspaper, long-awaited publication has been made finally by the British newspaper. Don't forget, this is not something that just, was supposed to, these things are the things that we're supposed to be seeing long time ago, but because the politics that they are playing, they do not want to bring up this publication. But congratulations, they have actually finally, brought out this, publication from Lolo Uchechi Okukano, where she is, writing about the illegal detention of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, her better half, and a UK citizen, or British citizen rather, how they have detained him in a Nigeria solitary confinement, even when the court has set him free. She is, just like, she told you her challenges all these years. Finally, I believe that things will start falling into place. Things will start falling into place. Of course, the other picture, which is Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, we know him, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the man that his voice, scares every forces against Africa, every stronghold against Africa, every stronghold against his people. His voice, scares them off. That is the reason why they had no choice than to silence that voice by placing him in a solitary confinement, even when this, court of a competent jurisdiction set him free. They still are holding him against the will and against the order of the court, but claiming that they are appealing the matter, but the matter is a matter that does not have a prospect of appeal. So that is the reason why we must continue to make sure that everything we are doing, we will not remove our eyes on the ball. We want Nigeria to obey their court order. That is the reason why each time we come online, we make it clear. We are not asking for any amnesty. We are not asking for any pardon. We are only asking for Nigeria to obey her court. Judiciary is supposed to be, an institution that is, cater for both rich, poor, and needy in Nigeria, to make sure that their right is protected. In a situation whereby a judiciary is undermined in any part of the world, in any country, regardless of where that country is actually located or its geographic location, it does not matter. Once a judiciary is actually undermined and not respected, that is a sign, a greatest sign of a failed state. So if you look at the antecedents of Nigeria under this the so-called democratic dispensation, and if you look at the antecedent of Nigeria judiciary, Nigeria law enforcement, you will understand that there are many things that have gone wrong. Things have fallen apart, just like Chinua Achebe wrote. Things has fallen apart, and that is the reason why we have decided that ever since we could not fix those things that have fallen apart, we are going to go our separate ways, because there is political will to get the people, the indigenous people of Nigeria, free from the activities of neocolonialism and from the activities of Fulani conquest against her. So that is the reason why we are fighting and doing everything that we can, because the shadow that, of course, when we talk about Nigeria, we are talking about British creation in 1914. More than 1 decade. Sorry, more than 1 century right now. Nigeria has been created a century ago. It was created for this, for the sake of profit for those who made it. That's why the slogan they used is to mix the oil and water to see how far it is going to go. Of course, in creating profit for them. In creating profit for them. That was the reason why they make that statement, and that oil and water has never, mixed with each other. Regardless of how hot the oil or the water becomes, at the end of the day, oil goes down, water comes up, or oil, one of the two. It is vice versa. When it is, in a situation whereby they are not soluble to each other, simply means that we cannot be with each other in Nigeria, because there is a reason why they made that statement. Oil and water, they are not soluble to each other. They did not say salt and water. They never said sugar and water. And they did not say any other thing to water. They said oil and water, which is actually looking at these two things. They can never mix because they are not compatible. They are not compatible with each other. That is the reason why Britain saw it important to bring different set of people who are not compatible with each other. We know that every nation in Africa or every nation across the world, they have their own diversity. But when we talk about Nigeria diversity, it is a dangerous and obstructive diversity that obstructs people from growing, that obstructs people from actually assessing their goals or actually, pushing forward what will help them to thrive. So that is the reason why we have come to make sure that we do something that will destroy and nullify the mixture of oil and water. Maybe we will look for things that are soluble to each other, which is compatible. If we are able to be compatible with each other, we will be able to work together. It takes two to tango, we know that. If a marriage is not working, the next thing you are going to do is go for the divorce. So we want to divorce the oil as we are the water. Or maybe we are the oil, or we want to divorce the water. Because we cannot breathe with each other. Our diversity is a very dangerous one. So that is the reason why we have taken this route that we are on today. If you look at it, there is a story that, there is a news that I want to read quickly before we proceed. Because this is the type of news you will be seeing in countries like Nigeria. The type of news you will be seeing in countries like Nigeria. This type of news, it is actually very, very prevalent in Nigeria. Let me read it, because Nigeria is that nation that allows intruder and allows anybody to come in and destroy her, because there is nobody who has the political will. I am going to read this news, and I am going to also show you the reaction of those who actually made this claim. And don't forget, there is something I want to read for you about the coup in Niger Republic. The reactions about the coup in Niger Republic between Hausa and Fulani. I believe that the Hausa people, they are looking for a way of escape. But the problem they have is that many people does not understand, many people in Hausa land does not know what they are supposed to be fighting. Many people in Hausa land, instead of fighting things that is going to help them to grow, they are seeing Biafrans and Igbo man to be their problem, because that is what they were taught. That is what they were taught by Fulanese. And that same thing is what we are here to actually destroy, because we will not allow it to thrive. Let me show you what an Hausa man said about the coup d'etat in Niger Republic and the coup d'etat across the West Africa. Let me read for you before we go to the news I wanted to give you. That news is about Boko Haram and those who actually created Boko Haram. Let me, read this news first. The coup d'etat in Niger Republic is saving grace to Nigeria. Listen attentively so that you will now remember what we were telling you, or what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said before he was extraordinary rendition. Listen attentively. The coup d'etat in Niger Republic is a saving grace to Nigeria. A revolution by the native indigenous Hausa people of Nigeria. We Hausa people of Hausa land in Nigeria love democracy, but only to the extent it administers justice, fairness, and equity to all people wherever it is practiced. Recall that the 8 years of Nigeria democratic rule under former President Muhammad Buhari was an unmitigated disaster to us as native of Hausa land and Nigerians in general. Did you hear what he said? He said that it is an unmitigated disaster to the Hausa people. When we tell you what these people are doing in Hausa land, you will think that when these people comes, when this Hausa, northern group come out, you will think that all is well. Because the Hausa people, the average poor Hausa people, communities, they do not have anybody to speak on their behalf. That is the reason why these people will go into these communities and they do whatever they want in these communities, kill and maim and displace people in various communities in Hausa land. Sometimes during the era of Buhari, there was a shutdown of telecommunication. Network was switched off so that people will stop hearing the atrocities of the terrorists in the northern Nigeria. Remember, we continue to read, because there are things that we have said in several occasions that I want to recall for you, Hausa people now talking about it. Pay attention. Recall that the 8 years of Nigeria's democratic rule under former President Muhammad Buhari was an unmitigated disaster to us as native of Hausa land and Nigerians in general. Under him, security, economy, and corruption witnessed the worst ever deterioration in the history of Nigeria, if not the entire world. Just because Buhari, as a Fulani man, was in power, the Fulani people had the free latitude to acquire arms and ammunition and flaunt them in public, glare without consequences. Rather, the government made excuses for them and justified their bearing of arms and killing of Nigerians regardless of the tribe or religion. But land grabbing for the Fulani and their self-arrogated freedom to commit rape, murder, barbarism, imposition of cannibalism on Hausa people, and burning of Hausa people alive. All these evil vices under Buhari represented the Fulani's concept of democracy. Now, did you hear what these people are talking about? All these things happened, but most of the time we did not hear it because they are underreporting. They were downplaying all these activities of the Fulani terrorists and the Boko Haram in the northern Nigeria, especially in the northwest. They were downplaying it. Listen attentively. Also recall Buhari APC propaganda against former President Goodluck Jonathan. Remember, I talk about Goodluck Jonathan every day, how he was removed from the position of power. Let's hear what they have to say. That they were the sponsors of Boko Haram and therefore had no capacity to tackle insecurity and the economic problem of Nigeria. Not only did Buhari woefully fail in the areas of security and economy, he added to Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, and Miyetti Allah in the terror agenda of this government. Buhari, as a known friend to the ousted president of Niger Republic, Mohamed Bazoum, was sponsor of the latest presidential project. Using the funds and the resources of the Nigeria government, the interest of the Nigeria Fulani in the government of Niger Republic, particularly the ousted President Bazoum, lies in their plans to merge the Niger Republic and northern part of Nigeria to form Fulani colony, and thereafter mobilize Fulani from all over Africa to militarily take over Nigeria to complete the Fulanization and colonization of Nigeria. Are you listening to it? It has a lot to do with the Niger Republic. And the northern part of Nigeria to form Fulani colony and thereafter mobilize Fulani from all over Africa to militarily take over Nigeria to complete the Fulanization and colonization of Nigeria. Also recall that Buhari hastily constructed railway lines to Niger Republic and signed contracts to build a refinery in Castina and Niger Republic to supply the crude oil. Buhari also granted free visa entry to Nigeria for all Africans. These are mere war strategies and logistics for the Fulani planned war against Nigeria. The railway will provide free transportation for their procured militias across Africa, while the refinery will guarantee them steady supply of fuels for transportation of their warriors and the logistics through the Republic of Niger into Nigeria. Buhari had hinted to relocate to Niger as his retirement home because of his faith. Because of his faith in success of the agenda. The Fulani clerics are now all over media spaces in condemnation of the Nigerian coup, but the same clerics saw nothing wrong in their early coup in the Mali and Burkina Faso because Niger Republic is central to their colonization agenda over Nigeria. This Nigerian coup d'etat that represents a nightmare to Buhari, Sultan Saad Abubakar and their fellow Fulani people has put a wedge into their age-long plans and dreams to take over and own Nigeria as Usman Danfodio Fulani family heritage. Their entire evil plans are foiled by the coup. Wow. Wow. It is foiled by the coup. These are facts the National Security Advisor to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nuhu Rebadu, as a Fulani man, will never permit the president to know. Therefore, any effort to restore Mohamed Bazoum to power will shoot Nigeria on her feet. This Nigeria coup d'etat is the saving grace to Nigeria. Katom Alumbe Jutami, for and on behalf of the native indigenous Hausa people. This is how I have seen it, and that is how I read it. Have you now seen that the plan to take over Nigeria, the plan to make sure that they capture Nigeria, that plan was actually steadily in place. It was not going to go unabated if the coup did not take place. I know there is something either the coup is actually doing or something, because I know there is, a plan from Niger Republic from the day one. A plan. That is the reason why the imposter decided that he is going to Niger Republic, because it was Fulani cabals in Aso Rock. During the time the imposter was in Aso Rock, there is a video. We are not only people who noticed what was happening in Aso Rock. There is another person who noticed what was happening in Aso Rock. I just want to show you this video quickly. I don't know if this video is going to download. I am not sure whether it is going to download. I just want to show you something. Before we proceed, there are things we need to see before we proceed. All right, looks like it is going to stay. One moment.
France has been a menace to West Africa, and really the white supremacists have been a menace ever since his existence when it comes to definitely black people. And during the time of the president Buhari out there in Nigeria, which is the previous president before the new puppet president that was actually put in, there are some, sisters talking about, France and what they have caused in Nigeria, because remember, Mali has said that France is the one that caused.
If you noticed what I noticed from this video, I don't know if there is anything you picked up from this video. That is the reason why from that beginning, we are not the only one who noticed the sudden change that took place in Aso Rock. We were not the only one. We are not the only one. Or you want to see it again? No, you have heard it. If you want to see it again, I believe you will be able to rewind this video. You rewind it and see it. It is very, very, important video that I thought you might want to see. We were not the only people who were actually, saw what was happening in Aso Rock when the Fulani cabals, led by Garba Shehu, was all in Aso Rock, and Malami Attorney General. They were doing anything that they want to do against Nigeria. So now, that is by the way. There are many things that we have said. There are many things that, IPOB have exposed in Nigeria. The results and the signs you are seeing. That is the reason why I read that thing for you. From reading that thing, I show you this video that you just watched now. The video that talks about the person who appeared in Aso Rock, which is public president that later appeared in Aso Rock. You saw it. So, for you to know that IPOB, when we bring a report, you should know that there is truth in it. There is truth in it. Except if those of you who are, allergic to understand the truth, you will not understand it. So let me now go straight to the point, to what is going on. The only northern woman who stood up to fight for the indigenous people of Nigeria. She is the only northern woman who stood up to fight to make sure that, she might not be the only northern woman who speaks the truth, but she is the one who is very, very formidable in what she do, which is Aisha Yusus. There is a video she made about the court of Nigeria. The video, she actually talked about the verdict delivered by the court of Nigeria. That such video is what I am here to talk about, because she actually, used a lot of energy in talking about that video, talking about the activities of Nigeria court, and that is exactly what I would like to touch on. Let me find out if okay. I think I have to. Let me play that video from my phone, because it won't. Let me play that video.
I sat down 13 hours in the Court of Appeal listening to the judgment that you and your colleagues passed. I sat down. It was a moment to gloat, to be joyous and say all you had to say. You were the main actors, and the rest of us were there as spectators, listening quietly to you, right? And with my 2 ears and my eyes looking at you, I heard you when you with all joy, say to the counsel, to one of the petitioners, when they asked you for the judgment, whether you had it's when you said, oh, you will make it available to them. And when they said, there was something you said also, by the time you were giving that judgment, that it is sacrosanct, the time for appeal.
One moment. Let me bring the video to the, maybe I will bring the video to, so that you will basically see the video while we are playing it and who is talking there. Let us see who is talking there.
This message is for Justice Haruna Samani. I sat down 13 hours in the Court of Appeal listening.
So, this
message is for Justice Haruna Samani. I sat down 13 hours in the Court of Appeal listening to the judgment that you and your colleagues passed. I sat down, it was a moment to gloat, to be joyous and say all you had to say. You were the main actors, and the rest of us were there as spectators, listening quietly to you, right? And with my 2 ears and my eyes looking at you, I heard you when you know, with all joy, say to the counsel, to one of the petitioners, when they asked you for the judgment, whether you have this, where you said, oh, you make it available to them. And when they said, there was something you said also, by the time you were giving that judgment, that it is sacrosanct, the time for appeal, that you are not going to, of course, that's what the law says, so we know it's sacrosanct, that there's not going to be any case where they are going to add any days to someone. So why is it that up till now, the judgment has not been given to the counsels, to the petitioners, to do what they needful? Whatever they want to do, even if they want to just look at it and be staring at it, it's not time for them to have it. The same you that was gleefully telling them that it's sacrosanct, is it not sacrosanct for there to be competence from the tribunal? Isn't the tribunal itself supposed to be sacrosanct in the way it does its things? If you knew the judgment was not ready, you had not finished putting everything down, it was not typed, it was not ready in a way that immediately after your judgment, you are either giving it to them or you are uploading it to your website, why then did you give a judgment? I listened to you severally when you were using the word that, oh, it seems the witness invented. So me, now that I am a witness, that I saw you and I was looking at you, I am thinking, it seems you invented the fact that let there be this tactical delay that we eat away into the days that are supposed to be used to file whatever appeal or whatever it is to the Supreme Court or whatever anybody wants to do. I sat down there,
are you understanding the game? The judgment delivered in the court of election tribunal in Nigeria, the judgment is not made available so that they will use it to go and appeal. You know, they are delaying the judgment. So they were, reading things that was not prepared as a judgment, which that thing they read in the election tribunal, having heard from what the person that was seated in the court on that day is saying, the judgment that was supposed to be made available immediately after the court sitting, because this judgment was already prepared. It was pre-prepared, or what I said, so that you will understand what I am saying. I might not be grammatically correct, or maybe it might sound facetious, but the judgment was supposed to be prepared already before they read it in court, which is supposed to be made available at any given time to the party who will be needing such judgment in order to go to appeal court. You see, after reading such judgment, after they were done reading such judgment, they were not able to make the judgment available to those parties who say they are going to appeal court. Now, that is the reason why people, like Aisha Yusus, who took her time to go and sit down in that election tribunal court the whole day. She said she sat there for 13 hours. She sat there for 13 hours, waiting for this judge to deliver this judgment. They were there for 13 hours. Where judge, we are closing. I see that there was a time where judge said that the case is dismissed, that one is dismissed. You will ask yourself, on whose authority does judge, a case is dismissed? I don't think a case can be dismissed when appeal court still exists. In this regard, so you ask yourself, for 13 hours, they were reading this judgment. After these 13 hours, to the extent of everybody that was present in the court that day, all of them literally fell asleep. Then after these 13 hours of reading this bogus judgment of theirs, they were not able to make the judgment available in a hard copy to hand it over to the parties who might want to use it to further the case. They decided to withhold the judgment. That is the reason why Aisha Yusus came out to actually, to ask questions, because she is a witness of the court proceeding. We all saw her in the court at that day, maybe, and she said that even if everyone fell asleep, she could not sleep because she didn't want to miss anything in this quest to make Nigeria better, in this quest to make people to have a better deal. That is the reason why I said that she's a woman of, she has a great enthusiasm, and she is, pushing, trying all she can to get a better deal. And as she was there, every protest that will better the life of ordinary people on the ground, she was there, doing all she can. And the effort she has put in this fight for freedom, in this fight for equality, in this fight for a better Nigeria, it is a great effort that she has put in place. But now, I have one advice for her, because she has been there in several years. She has been fighting for several years to see if she will get a better deal, because I believe she has children in Nigeria which she is fighting on their behalf. Because anybody that is actually reasonable, anybody that is wise in that country called Nigeria, is a person who is supposed to be fighting for the sake of their children, for the future of their children. It is a parent's duty to make the future better for their children. It is a parent's duty to fight, as much as they can to shape a better future for the children. That is the reason why you take them to school. That is the reason why you do all these things for them. Do some investment for them. Those who care, who understand that, how you make your bed, so you will come and lie on it. So, she is one of them. She happened to be one of them with great enthusiasm to make Nigeria a better for she, her children, and everybody who lives in Nigeria in extension. That is the reason why people like this, we don't have a lot of her in the northern Nigeria, because, she is one of those northern Nigeria people who are actually educated, who knows exactly what they are fighting for. So that is exactly the reason why I have decided that I will bring her in front of the screen today in order for the world to hear from her, and not only to hear from her, for them to hear it from Hausa woman. She is from Kano State, I believe. She is from Kano. I believe she is from Kano. So, a Kano woman who understands what they are going through in Nigeria. She's an Hausa woman. She's not a Fulani. She is not a Fulani. She is an Hausa woman. Because if you understand the emasculation done on Hausa people, it was targeted at their men, that Fulani may marry their women and control the land. So, let us continue. Let us continue.
The judgment has not been given to the councils, to the petitioners to do what they needful. Okay. Whatever they want to do, even if they want to just look at it and be staring at it, it's not time for them to have it. Mm-hmm. The same you that was gleefully telling them that it's sacrosanct. Is it not sacrosanct for there to be competence from the tribunal? Isn't the tribunal itself supposed to be sacrosanct in the way it does its things? If you knew the judgment was not ready, you had not finished putting everything down, it was not typed, it was not ready in a way that immediately after your judgment, you are either giving it to them or you are uploading it to your website. Why then did you give a judgment?
Okay.
I listened to you severally when you were using the word that, oh, it seems the witness invented. So me, now that I am a witness, that I saw you and I was looking at you, I am thinking, it seems you invented the fact that let there be this tactical delay that we eat away into the days that are supposed to be used to file whatever appeal or whatever it is to the Supreme Court or whatever anybody wants to do. I sat down there for 13 hours listening. At one time I was wondering, what kind of words I thought, is this going to be part of the judgment? Is it what the judgment is, what is being said? Because it was almost as if, was I in the market just hearing plain? I think it was Lord Denny that said the words, words are this. There's a quote by Lord Denny where he talked about how judges are supposed to use words, sort of like that with flow. They were the kind of words you were using. You were wondering whether you were in court, or you were at the motor park, or you were in the market, or you were in the village square where people were just throwing words anyhow. It doesn't matter. It's your right to do what you want to do, where you want to do it. But when it comes to issue of competence, when it comes to issue of sacrosanct, the way you use, when you talk about it is sacrosanct that the number of days will not be increased for anybody. Why then are you eating into the number of days? Why then are you eating? For me, Aisha Yusus, I am an active Nigerian citizen. I speak for myself and I use this my mouth to speak on my own behalf as a witness that stands down for over 12 hours, 13 hours, sitting down and listening to judges reading. I'm like, what are they reading here?
Okay, she is that woman who actually devoted herself looking for change at all costs in Nigeria, including living their tradition of Hausa Fulani Yoruba in Nigeria, trying to, seeing if she can see a new thing by supporting Igbo presidency. Because the thing now she is doing, supporting Igbo presidency, the tribe or the region that has never been president in Nigeria. That is what she actually stood up to challenge, because she is in need of a change in Nigeria. She is that woman, that person, that mother, that need a change in Nigeria. That's why she sat in a courtroom for 13 hours listening to bogus judgment that was passed, and the judge was talking about sacrosanct, which means it is too important to be interfered with. The judgment, sacrosanct. And at the end of the day, the judgment sacrosanct was not made available for those who it is supposed to be made available to. Now, because I don't know, will you say that they want to edit it, or they have found some of contradictory informations that was made available in that thing while they were writing their bogus judgment? Heaven knows. Now, when I listen to her commitment, her great enthusiasm, when I listen to her good human, when I listen to her, a woman with honor, when I listen to her, a woman that is actually, selfless, when I listen to her, she is willing to sacrifice anything to make Nigeria better. That's why she sacrificed 13 hours of her time in court, where everybody fell asleep, including the lawyers, the judges, the sun, the media. Everybody fell asleep at that day. She stood awake to understand the sacrosanctness of this judgment. That's why she continuously used that word, sacrosanct. Now, at the end of this understanding, only to find out that she was disappointed because she took out her energy, her time to fight for Igbo presidency. This, not every, people from the north, not many people in the north will actually stand up. They might want a change, but they will be scared to have that change from Igbo person. Because Igbo people are the people whom everybody is scared of, that they might bring that change. Now she stood up to support. Why? Because she is genuinely, what I call this? She is genuinely fighting for a change, fighting for a better deal for the people of Nigeria. But I am going to give her advice. Let us finish hearing what she has to say.
This message is for Justice Haruna Tamani. Is it judges that withdraw cases? What is it? It's not the person that put in the case. There was a part where we heard, explain to me if I didn't hear well, where you were saying that the case, the Labour Party case is now withdrawn. And is it judges that withdraw cases? What is it? It's not the person that put in the case, I suppose, or is it now judges that are not acting on behalf? If I didn't hear that part where tell me, let me know, because I sat down on this one. I'm a witness, so I was there. Nobody told me. I didn't read newspaper. In short, I wasn't even hidden because where everybody were wearing black and that color, my yellow gold hijab was there shining.
I saw you.
It's really so annoying that the place where you expect that justice is supposed to be for the weak, to protect the weak against the strong. But unfortunately in Nigeria, that doesn't seem to what we have. Okay. Because what I saw that day was you, Justice Samanya, and your other colleagues being so happy when you were talking about the respondents, and you were talking about how they had done things, how under cross-examination, and then the anger, the agitation, the disdain when you were talking about the petitioners coming before you. It's all right to, it's your court, it's all right to do what you do. I don't know what you people do. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a microbiologist. So I don't know how you people do this thing. But more as a citizen, watching and as an eyewitness to what I saw was all of that happening. But you have a right to do that. What you do not have a right to is incompetence. Incompetence of not ensuring that immediately after your judgment that it's available for people to begin to file their appeal or whatever they want to do with it. Even if they are not going to file their appeal, let them sit down and be looking at it. Justice Haruna Amani, your name is Amani as expected. Do the expected. Be competent. Let bring everything out and let's give it to people. Don't eat away out of the hours. 24 hours cannot be recovered again. 48 hours cannot be recovered again. 72 hours cannot be recovered again. again. Any hour, any minute that you do not give the counsels to the petitioners what they need, the judgment and everything, however you people call it, whether it's a certified through copy or whatever you call it, that you don't let them have it to begin to prepare what they need to use to happy, it's injustice of the highest order. It's not even only injustice, it is sabotage. That is how me.
Now, let me hold it here. Hold it here. This is the court of Nigeria that we are talking about here. Nigeria court. You know, one good term deserves another. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, if you understand what he is going through in the hands of Nigeria court today, if you understand what he is going through in Nigeria court today, you will know that this is how court is not treating cases equally. Court select the case they are going to be serious about. Court select the cases they will be delay strategies about, and it is all about case of Biafran people. You know, she is the one talking about this court. And if something happened against one person in a country and the rest of the country citizens decide to keep quiet, evil that is done against one person, the rest of the nation decide to keep quiet about it. And because some of them will say, no, it does not concern them. It does not concern them. You will find out that the world evolves. One day it will come to you. One day it will concern you. You will know that what goes around comes around. The reason why I am saying this is that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was set free by the court of the competent jurisdiction. Not many Nigerians stood up to say, if court can be flouted, it means they are no longer safe in Nigeria. If the court order, will be flouted in that manner, no Nigeria felt insecure with regards to such activities of court against Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, because so many of them believe it is after all Omoibo, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They don't know that one good term deserves another, and if you allow evil to thrive, it will at some point get to you. That is the reason why when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is in the solitary confinement, those people who are looking for obedience, who are looking for Igbo presidency, who could not stand firm, who could not demand for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu as per the order of court, not as per a favor from the executive, they could not demand it. They kept quiet. They were just, touching it one by one. This person would make a sentiment. They just use it as a sentiment without making it a point of duty to make sure to say, if this man is treated like this because he's an Igbo man, how will I be treated in election tribunal? If Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was treated like this because he's looking for a better deal for every indigenous Nigeria, why do you think that P2B will get justice in a court? When Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, who started fighting for better deal, that even provoked Igbo presidency, that provoked people talking about Igbo presidency, how do you think that you allow the court and the Nigeria executive and their cabals to make sure they silence the order of the court and now set up their own court by removing judges who establish such case pronouncement and now placing their own personal judges in that position to an extent that they fix a court date only to find out it is a court recess day. It is a day for court vacation. Nobody is saying anything about it. I don't care is because it has never affected you. Now it has affected Obi, the court, and the bad reputation of the court. The shadow of that bad reputation is now walking past Obi and obedient movement. Now they will realize that the court in Nigeria is indeed not representing the ordinary people, not representing the poor, not representing the weak, but they are representing the strong. They are representing the superior. They are not representing the inferior. That is now selective, will I say, if I call it selective amnesia, I might not be wrong, I might not be, grammatically correct, but take it to that aspect. They are selective on those whom they are going to work for or favor or reprimand. That's exactly what they are doing. The court of Nigeria, they favor those who are, in control, instead of being there as independent as they were supposed to be. They are not. Now, having heard from this woman that I respect so much, she's obedient, and I know she actually called for release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. But I know, her voice was not this loud during that time. Why? Because she wanted a change and she loved Nigeria so much. She loved Nigeria so much and she wants something to happen inside Nigeria, that everybody will remain together, and she wants that Nigeria where is controlled. I believe I am coming out. Okay. She wants that Nigeria to, thrive. But she is forgetting that the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu rose up to fight these forces that is withholding Nigeria and not allowing Nigeria to breathe or to go forward, it is because seeing from every angle, every ramification, the force will never leave Nigeria. The force will never change its grip, because Nigeria is owned by the force. And they will continue to control the Nigeria because it is their subject already. That is something that we have understood. And that is something that we have seen, that it is the only way to solve this problem that we have as people in this nation called Nigeria, or British enclave called Nigeria. It is the only way we will be able to move away from the challenges. That's why we are going through this part of disintegration of what made Nigeria British subject. Disintegration of that status quo that is being controlled by Britain. That is the reason why we have risen up to go towards this direction. It is not because we do not love the indigenous people of Nigeria. We love everybody, and we are willing to work with anybody who is a lover of freedom, because it takes a free person. It takes a free person to be able to fly like a bird and try other things. If you are free, you will be able to thrive. If you are not free, you will be limited, because a free person can go anywhere, do investment, do business, bring home, come back, they will actually explore. But somebody that is unfree will not be able to explore. That is the problem. That is the difference between a free person and a captive, a person that is under captivity. All of you in Nigeria are under British captivity, under neo-colonial captivity. That is where you have found yourself, and it will not move away until we begin to fight for our freedom and stop being delusional. Nigeria is not going to give you a better deal. It is not going to give a beautiful heart like Aisha Yusus. It is not going to give a good human being like Aisha Yusus a better deal. It is not going to do it for you, for your children, because Nigeria does not have that. And you can only give somebody what you have, not what you do not have. Nigeria is a subject of Britain. And that is the reason why Facebook fear the voice the most. The voice of freedom and the voice of reason. Once we begin to speak, that's why Facebook fear it the most. Because they understand that we speak, truth to power without fear or favor of anything. Now, let us finalize so that I will, give Aisha Yusus, a little advice, because her energy is too precious to be wasted the way she is wasting it, because we have seen what is going on. It is difficult to change it in the direction that they are going. Listen.
Let me also talk. Let me talk what is happening. There are some quotes here that I really need us to. From Lord Denny. Lord Denny does not have two heads. He has one head, like every other person. 100 years from now, people are going to be looking at these judgments and reading it. They are not only going to look at the Justice Haruna Samani and whoever it was that was on that thing that did. They are going to look at all of us and say, the people of that era, how were they? What kind of weddings and what kind of those things is that? So it is a representation also my generation. By the time I'm dead, 100 years from now, I won't be there for me to go and be telling them that we too, that was how we saw it too. The issue of Niger Judicial, where what do you call it now? I see appointment or whatever, it's based on seniority. That thing, the judicial system needs to be rejigged. It needs to be rejigged, turn upside down and fixed. Competence must trump how old you are. Because say person old, no company say the person get sense pass another person where they there, where get sense where you go do what you go do. Age, they give person sense. No being they give person sense. At this moment, we need to ensure the right thing is being done. Lord Denny said the purpose of the law is to protect the weak against the strong. Not the one that we will see that is the strong that are coming out to display their strength, and then it's the weak that is being used to it won't happen. No. We are all citizens in this country. It's all our country. Every one of us. We own Nigeria equally. No Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. Lord Denny also said, the law is not a technical game to be played by experts, but rather a living force to be applied with wisdom and compassion.
It is not a technical game to be played by professionals. It is not a technical game to be played by professionals. Did you hear that? Let's hear it one more time. Because that is the technical game they are playing with. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu fixing a date that falls on a holiday of the court. It is a technical game they are playing according to their profession, because their profession is fraudulent.
Lord Denny said the purpose of the law is to protect the weak against the strong. Not the one that we will see that is the strong that are coming out to display their strength, and then it's the weak that is being used to it won't happen. No. We are all citizens in this country. It's all our country. Every one of us. We own Nigeria equally. No Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. Lord Jenny also said, the law is not a technical game to be played by experts, but rather a living force to be applied with wisdom and compassion. We are not even asking for wisdom and compassion. Now me, I'm not asking for wisdom and compassion. All I'm asking for is competence. Ensure that these lawyers get the judgment that you have read, the judgment that you finally televised when you didn't televise the whole way where they were bringing evidence. They give them and let them do their work, so that sacrosanct you said, your word should also be sacrosanct. You giving them the judgment immediately after should be sacrosanct, ensuring that you had everything prepared before you just came out and sat down and read those judgments. They too should be sacrosanct. Let me remind all of us again. No Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian.
That is your own, it is the way you feel, because you are a Nigerian that is maybe, exposed, educated, and understand how a nation is supposed to be. That is the reason why you are saying no, Nigeria is more than any other Nigeria. But you have, in reality, you will understand that there are Nigerians who are more Nigerians than every other person. And those Nigerians are those who sit in position of power. Those Nigerians are those who are the strong. The weak are not Nigerians. The weak are not Nigerians. And you saying that nobody is more Nigerians, it is a lie. There are people who are more Nigerians than others. Don't place, your understanding to the to the situation of these people who are the leaders of Nigeria. They don't see everybody to be an equal Nigerians. That is the reason why when you go to the judiciary deals with you differently. That is the reason why when you go to judiciary measures where you come from. They make sure that judiciary will now, deal with you according to your state of origin or according to your ethnicity. That is how they do. That is how they roll. Because started with Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Why do you think that judiciary will now prevail on behalf of P2B when the order of judiciary given by judiciary was flouted by Nigeria? Because there are people who are more Nigerians who judiciaries need to work with competency. That judiciary need to work in accordance or within the ambit of the law for them on their behalf. That is one thing that many people does not understand. Whenever judiciary try to protect the right of the weak in Nigeria, it becomes problematic. Have you now seen how they ousted those 3-man panel, those judges that pronounced the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu? They were learned because if having seen my experience having attended so many court proceedings, my experience having followed so many court proceedings in my life, I have seen that those 3-man panel that handled the issue of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, they were competent. Because it is very, very simple. Issue of extraordinary rendition is off the book. The judge is going to drop that case. Once it is confirmed, the judge will actually, pay attention to a case of rendition. As immediately when there is extraordinary behind the rendition, the case is something that was done off the book, and the judge will actually throw those things into the garbage because court does not have jurisdiction to try extraordinary rendition, because it is a case that is, extraordinary rendition is taking somebody forcefully, kidnapping, or to torture somebody. That is extraordinary rendition. That is it. So when the state representatives or state lawyers decided that they do not have any proof to, show how Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was brought back from Kenya, which means it nullifies that there is this order of extradition. It nullified it, as they were not able to present such evidence. It nullifies it. Now, which made the case to be an extraordinary rendition case. That's why you saw the 3-man panel of judges quashed it, and they did it not in their own knowledge. They did it as per law, according to the law. And now Nigeria decided appealing is to appeal a case. It is a right of everybody, including the right of federal government. It is their right to appeal a case. But what is not their right is when they decided that they will go, instead of releasing Mazen Nnamdi Kanu while appealing, because they're supposed to release him first before appealing. Now they claim he is a flight risk. How can you call a person whom the court have set free and you calling them a flight risk? It means there is a premeditated plan you have against this person. Even the court is just a waste of time to you. Because if you do not have a premeditated plan, the court has quashed the case you have tabled against this man, and yet you are saying that this man is a flight risk. It takes court to determine who is a flight risk and who is not a flight risk. Do you know how? If the case you, a state, have against this person has merit, if it is a case that has merit or jurisdiction of the court, that's when the court will think about flight risk or no flight risk. In the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, there is no need for stay of execution. There is no need for stay of execution, because the court of a competent jurisdiction said it has no jurisdiction over this particular matter. So there is no argument of flight risk, stay of execution, because the court said that this case does not have a prospect of appeal. That is when you heard the court saying that it cannot be tried in any court in Nigeria because it has no jurisdiction. So it means it has no prospect for appeal. So have you now seen, if Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, because he's an Igbo man, a Biafran man, is treated in that regard, you believe another Biafran will now be allowed to go into position of presidency by the court, that when they deliver judgment, it is flouted. I don't even know why these obedient people are so, these people are so, I don't know. You people secretly go. Because if you look at the antecedent of Nigeria flouting the order of court up and down, you believe that if just court to say, Peter Obi, you have won, the executive will say, okay, I take a bow, just like Goodluck did in 2015. You think it will happen like that? There is nobody. This issue of I take a bow and honor the order of court is for those who are gently uneducated. Those are the people who understand the importance of law and the importance of judiciary. Those are the people who will take a bow. So you, in your own wildest dream, Peter, be an obedient. And my sister here, Aisha Yusus, if they refuse to, if Nigeria refuse to change, when we get Biafra, we will bring you to Biafra land. You will become part of Biafra. Not like you will welcome you, will give you a position in Biafra land because you are a good woman. So, but I have some advice to give you. It is very, very important that we understand what Nigeria judiciary is doing to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And at the end of the day, we do not understand that this thing is going to happen to another person. It is going to happen to another person. We don't understand it. And we don't know how, one good term deserves another. We don't understand those words because that is what is repeating itself. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu staying in a solitary confinement today, it is actually a human rights violation, gross human rights violation. That is why, what Nigeria is committing against him. A case that is actually dismissed. A case that is actually quashed and has no prospect for appeal. Now, all of a sudden, staying execution, saying flight risk. So that means there is a pre-plan that they will not adhere to the order of the court. That's why Malami, the alleged criminal in Nigeria, decided that he will go against the law and apply for stay of execution in a case that has no jurisdiction and which was pronounced by a competent court and the 3 learned panel. That's why they removed the judges, because the judges had to now work in line with the law. They do not want judges that works in line with the law. And probably, you might not even blame this Haruna Karuna or Haruna Corona, who was handling the case of Peter Obi. Maybe she does not want to be ostracized, and at the end of the day, small time, one of their loved ones will have issues in Nigeria. You never know why they don't want to deliver a judgment according to the law. But they delivered a biased judgment. You don't know what awaits them. You don't know the threat on the table for them. So I don't think we might blame those judges. It is the way Nigeria is set up. That is the reason why I am coming to, give this, enthusiastic woman an advice, Aisha Yusus. Because, she's been fighting to make a change in Nigeria. She's courageous. She's a strong woman. I haven't seen a lot of women with, with this bouquet or burki, fighting the way she is fighting. She is a Muslim, but not fanatic Muslim. She's a free woman. That's what I love about her. And at the end of the day, she is fighting. And when you hear her speak, she is objective. When you hear her speak, she is intelligent. That is the reason why I want to advise her. Because
where she is going, there is no road there. You mean well for everybody, but where you are going, there is no road there. I don't think you understand the structure of Nigeria. Because if you understand the structure of Nigeria, you will now understand and make peace with it that there will never be a change in Nigeria. Igbo man will not be a president there. Because maybe for Igbo man to be a president there, it must be that they have found a stooge. Any day you find them saying we are giving Igbo man a president in Nigeria, you should fear that Igbo man. You should know that it is Igbo man by name, but maybe Fulani by blood. Believe you me, earlier you understand that, the better for you. Igbo man is not, going to be allowed to rule Nigeria as per the order of the colonialists, because Igbo people are entrepreneurial people. They have entrepreneurial mindset. Igbo people are business people. Igbo people are game changers. I am not saying it because I am Igbo man, but I am saying it if you find indeed a true Igbo man that has what it takes, not a biased Igbo man. No. I am not talking about political harlot Igbo man. A true Igbo man, or Fulani mixed blood Igbo man. I am not talking about that. I am talking about a true Igbo man that has a political will to do something. They will do something to bring about change in Nigeria. And that is the biggest fear of the colonialist. Because from the beginning, an Igbo man refused to bow down before the Queen of England. An Igbo man refused to shake the Queen of England with two hands. So it becomes problematic. They have seen the pushback where it began. 1967, an Igbo man saw that Nigeria is not going to work. Can you imagine? 7 years after independence. 7 years after glorified independence, given to you as Nigerians, an Igbo man saw it is not going to work. We rather go back to how we were. And they went to Aburi to negotiate. They went to Aburi to negotiate. Ojukwu and Gowon. Gowon is still alive today. If he is going to, I know that Gowon is going to, I am not wishing him, but Gowon need to speak the truth because he has no time also. Gowon he has no much time again. He need to speak to the truth to secure the future of his generation. What him and Britain did to our people. He has no much time, but he need to use the time he has to speak the truth. I don't wish him ill, but the algorithm, that's what the algorithm say. He has not much time. But he went to Aburi to negotiate with Ojukwu. That Ojukwu negotiated devolution, where every region govern their resources, pay tax to the central government. And they signed. It was a binding agreement in front of the legal professionals. It was signed. Ojukwu took the copy of his signed documents, while Gowon had his own, as a president of Nigeria that is controlled and owned by Britain. Britain called Gowon and said, no, you must not agree to the Aburi Accord agreement. The excuse they gave to him, because as a young man in the military who believed he wants power to control, they told him, they use some of these Igbo some of this overly educated Nigeria to tell him, as an uneducated or ill-educated man he was, to tell him, you are going to only become a ceremonial president if you agree that Ojukwu deceived you. He lured you to make you a ceremonial president. Because of power intoxication, Gowon became a warmonger. Britain manipulated him, destroyed the humanity in him, because on a good note, outside Britain, Gowon was supposed to be a good man. He was supposed to be a good man. But because of power intoxication, because of power mongering, he became a warmonger. He became, a war criminal. Gowon is a war criminal. And the whole world turned a blind eye because it is actually protected by Britain. Because Britain is the one who made sure that it happened. It is. That's why no one is held to account as per this, genocide, as per these war crimes committed on our people, food barricading that took the life of more than 3.5 million women and children. It has never happened in anywhere in the world, especially when the war takes the life of women and children. And that is what Britain is very, very good at, taking the life of women and children in order to make you give up. They did it in Anglo War. They did it there. Check the history. Their antecedent, it is still there. So we're not lying about it. For you to see, having seen that Ojukwu 7 years after independence, Igbo people wanted to be free, for real free, because they understood that this independence, it does not mean that you are free. You are still being controlled. That is why an Igbo man decided, no, let us run away from it. Let us do it right now. Since they have decided not to flout the agreement that was made it at Aburi, Ojukwu decided that not only that they flouted the agreement, they started killing our people in the north. Killed more than 33,000 people. Like I always say, they even killed a woman, pregnant woman, removing the fetus from the woman's womb, smashing it on the wall. That's how bad things were. And that is how bad things are still is today. And at the end of the day, you believe that these people who are hated so much by Britain, by Fulani, whom Britain handed over the power in Nigeria, that they disseminate this power as according to their choice or what they want, how they want it. You believe that they will now turn to Igbo man who understood the trajectories of colonialism, who understood the trajectories of neocolonialism, who knows exactly when freedom is and when freedom is not, even though it is technical, who understand the technicality of freedom. They decided to say, no, you will never have devolution. You will never have regionalism. You will never have a true confederation, which is what Nigeria is called, Federal Republic of Nigeria, because Nigeria is supposed to be a confederation. 1967 Constitution. I believe 1967, right? Constitution. It's a constitution of confederation. Now, at the end, is it 1967? Not 1967, sorry. Is it 1960 Constitution or 1963? Somewhere there. It is a constitution that has what it takes to be, better, even as a Nigerian. They do away with it they amended and brought in 1999, which is about the conquest of Fulanization. It has Fulanization agenda. That is the reason why inside that constitution you find customary and you find Sharia. Because the reason why I talk about finding customary and finding Sharia, it is because Sharia is a custom of these people. We have our own custom. So in a situation whereby they added their own custom inside the 1999 constitution, added, make their own, section for their own Sharia. Their own Sharia. It shows, it talks about a lot. It means that Nigeria, and not only that, Nigeria constitution is actually Islamic constitution, more of Islamic, because it preach more of Islam than any other thing in Nigeria. And it is about the Islam of Uthman Danfodio. That's what Nigeria Constitution 1999 preach about. That's why they were planning Fulanization. Just like the Hausa man that I read his article said, if not the Niger coup, the plan was to make sure they Fulanize Nigeria using, Niger, and making sure they unite all of their own Fulani people in their conquest. That's why you saw Fulani during the time of Buhari. That's why Buhari, before he died, and Abba Kyari, they wanted to kill Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in Operation Python Dance, because he delayed their plans. Every Nigeria does not know what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu did for them. He delayed the Fulanization plan of Fulani. If not, Fulani were going to actually go into all your bushes, want to go, they will overwhelm all of you, emasculate you, because what they do is emasculation. Your men are targeted. They will kill them, slaughter them, make sure they take over your women, they will rape them, do a lot of evil to them in order to take over the land. Land grabbing. That was the plan. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu began to preach behind the mic to destroy and destabilize the plans. And today, nobody in Nigeria, as one Nigeria blindfolds you, one Nigeria, actually block your ears to hear or to understand what that man did for all of you. You cannot see it because he's an Igbo man. Some of you who are Igbo Efulef, who come and criticize him, you could not see it because Yibete Yego, he's an Igbo man. The worst battle you will engage is the battle they will also use your own people that you are fighting to secure or to save against you. That's what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is facing today in the hands of Nigeria, in the hands of the DSS. That's why I am advising this woman, Aisha Yusus, a great woman with a great enthusiasm, to make sure he get a call for a better deal for all Nigerians. That's what she's trying to do. But she does not know that Nigeria is not created to work for the benefit of the people who are dwelling in it. From the antecedent of Nigeria, from the current Nigeria, election rigging, sort of human rights violation, police brutality, all these things, it is not created to work. Nigeria is not a French colony. But I want you to listen to this. Nigeria is not a French colony. But let me read something for you. After reading this thing for you, I will now show you another video which will now make you understand what we are talking about. Now listen to this. Group accuses France of sponsoring terrorism. Group accuses France. I am reading from Vanguard. French President Emmanuel Macron. President of France, Emmanuel Macron has been accused by a movement against slavery and the terrorism masked of sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria and other African countries. Did you hear that? France, the best buddy of your president Tinubu, his best buddy. Now let's continue to read. This was made known at the end of one-day walk to the French embassy in Abuja, Nigeria. The visible frustrated Africans, numbering in their hundreds, and demanded that the French authorities must end such deals. Addressing the media in front of the French consulate, Princess Ajibola, the convener, said the mission was to get Macron's attention that Nigeria is a sovereign nation and any attempt to compromise its territorial integrity will be resisted. According to Ajibola, the group has overwhelming evidence to back its claim that the European nation is indeed behind the recent upsurge in terrorism in the country. Are you paying attention? They have overwhelming evidence. That is not just a mere, accusation. The movement against slavery and terrorism, that's what they are called. Therefore, warn the French authorities to desist from further mischief which has undermined the remarkable gains of the Nigerian army. The group also called the attention of the United Nations to crime against humanity. To the crime against humanity. This is a protest for the rescue of the soul of our dear country Nigeria from the forces of the evil that have attempted to cause disharmony and disintegration by covertly sponsoring the activities of terrorists in Nigeria. This is a protest for the rescue of the soul of our dear country from the forces of evil that attempted to cause disharmony and the disintegration by covertly sponsoring the activities of terrorists in Nigeria. We embark on this protest march to send a powerful message to the French authorities that Nigeria are indeed aware of its inferious activities with regards to the ongoing war against terrorism in the northeast Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism as a civil society organization decided to take our protest to the French embassy in Abuja so the message could be relayed to French authorities wherever they are that Nigeria is indeed sovereign country and as such any form or attempt to compromise our territorial integrity will be resisted wholeheartedly. Since 2015, when the President administration assumed leadership of the country, there has been tremendous progress recorded in the fight against Boko Haram terrorist group, so much so that Nigeria troops captured their operational headquarters, camp in Sambisa Forest. That's what they are saying. Now you will understand that this let me not read further. Let me show you this video. Let me show you this video so that we will hear from the horse's mouth. Pay attention to the video. French. There was a time I told you there was I know that these people who actually made this claim, they have a lot of evidence for real, because I have seen one of this evidence in 2021. I came across this evidence in 2021, even where Emmanuel Macron was with the terrorists in the forest. I have seen one of this evidence somewhere. Let us see this.
The message could be relayed to the French authorities, wherever they are in France, that Nigeria is indeed a sovereign country, and as such.
One moment. One moment. Let us see.
The message could be relayed to the French authorities, wherever they are in France, that Nigeria, any form or attempt to compromise our territorial integrity will be resisted wholeheartedly. At this point, I want to stress, Nigeria was not colonized by France. Therefore, they have no business coming to toy with our lives here. We are aware that some vested interests was not happy with the gains made by the Nigerian government, and especially our dear President Muhammad Buhari, in the fight against terrorism. As such, they began providing logistic support under a cover called humanitarian whatever to the Boko Haram fighters. They also assumed the role of the mouthpiece of the Boko Haram terrorist group. They used their state medium to promote their nefarious activities.
Okay.
Give them the needed psychological boost, claiming human rights for people that have been raised trying to kill fellow Nigerians by them. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to state categorically and on unequivocal terms that France is indeed responsible for the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks in Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to inform the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, that the world is indeed watching closely, and we, especially Nigerians, are also watching very closely. And should the French authorities not halt the spread of terrorism in Nigeria, the day of reckoning is indeed near, and very, very near. We are also aware that the actions of France are hinged on economic benefits, given the avalanche of economic resources in northeast Nigeria, particularly the Lake Chad Basin region. This is indeed an attempt at recolonization.
Wow.
What did I say? It is another attempt at recolonization by France. After we have been colonized by Britain, we are not under France, and we will not allow for France to come and colonize us again.
But you make peace
by
with
violence.
They make peace with Britain. Oh. They have made peace with British colonization. So, they are not talking about also how to get out of it. I understand they have to tackle the new coming. Hey, have you now seen that France, the plan was to take over the whole of Western Africa. And this same France is where you see now your president Tinubu is actually befriend with. Tinubu is a good friend of Emmanuel Macron. That is exactly what it is. He is a good friend of his. Why? Even though he was accused of sponsoring terrorism in the country that Tinubu is, has become a president today. He was accused that time. But Tinubu still remained his good ally. That he was even willing to go and fight to hand back over Niger Republic to him. If not the public outcry. For you to see that what is happening in the ECOWAS regions or the Sahel region, the coup d'etat, is indeed working towards towards the resources that Africa owns. I want to show you the real reason why you must actually understand that the new development across the Sahel region is actually an upliftment and a value, placing value on the resources coming out of the ground of Africa. Let me show you. Uranium prices hit 12-year high as government warmed to nuclear power. Did you hear that? The uranium price went so high. Uranium price went so high. Remember that they were getting it for free from Niger Republic. And they tell you that Niger is the 7th highest uranium producing nation in the world, which might even be that they are the first, because they place Kazakhstan as the first. They are the ones who are the court, they are the ones who are the judge, they are the ones who are the lawyer, the complainant. So they will tell us whatever they want to tell us. If uranium from Niger Republic is actually, immediately when the exploitation of such resources was tampered with, it becomes that the uranium, price went so high. Now let me continue to read. Uranium prices have surged to their highest level in 12 years, underlining a global renaissance in nuclear power as utility race to lock in fuel supplies. Now you want to understand that they did not actually bring this thing up until there was a coup d'etat in Niger. That means Niger has been feeding uranium free of charge to many European nations through France, when France is the direct proxy. Price of the commodity dubbed yellow cake have jumped about 12% to $65.50 per pound over the past month, breaching last year's peak to reach highest not seen since 2011, according to the data from UXC. A pricing data provider. Uranium demand has been lifted by government from Washington to Seoul and Paris, seeking energy independence by extending the lifetime of the existing fleet of nuclear reactors, as they contemplate building new plants after gas price skyrocketed due to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The milestone for uranium price marks a big step towards nuclear power's reemergence as a critical carbon-free source of baseload power in global effort to tackle climate change, a role that had been undermined by Japan's Fukushima nuclear disaster in 2011. Fukushima. You have a focus on energy security colliding with focus on clean energy, said Grant Isaac, Chief Financial Officer of Cameco, the world's second largest uranium producer. The days of buying $40 uranium are over, and probably also $50 or $60. We are going to need new supplies, he added. You see the price index. I can see the price index, how it skyrocketed. It is even climbing to $70. It is about to, it is even going to climb to $70. Let me see. I hope you saw the price index. I hope you saw it. The price index, how it is going to, it is actually going to go even to $80 because it is almost at $70. So the next it is going to climb to $80. Now, you will understand that this was the reason why what France saw, and they cleaved onto Niger uranium and they were exploiting it, without looking back. That's why the coup d'etat in Niger Republic touched France and Europe the most, that they wanted to even invade Niger Republic. They knew that for them to invade Niger Republic, it is going to be a problematic